So today I'm going to get removing the power steering pump off of my truck and putting that Saginaw pump on. First thing I need to do is remove these air tubes, get the belt off of it. Probably going to remove this as well. Then I can get down there to the pump. I'm going to suck all the fluid out of the reservoir, kind of let everything drain out of it, and then I need to take these 4 bolts. There's 2 up top, 2 down below. Take those out. Just loosen the AC compressor. Get it out of the way a little bit. Then I'm going to unbolt that bracket and get it and the pump off all in one shot. So I'm going to get to doing that, and then we'll go from there. And this really isn't going to be a how-to video. Not really what most of my videos are, but I think you'll get the general idea. Get the belt off of this stuff, and it must be a 15 instead of a 14. Or at least off the things we're going to be taking out. I think before I do anything else, I'm going to suck all the fluid out of the reservoir on the power steering pump, and then I think I'm going to take the AC compressor, unbolt it, see if I can set it someplace, and then get the bracket off and pull that on out of there. Have to disconnect the hoses from the power steering pump as well. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll bring you back in. So I've got the AC compressor. 4 bolts out of that. It's kind of set off here to the side. Not exactly sure where it's going to go. Hose is disconnected, and I've got the bolts broken loose to get this bracket off, so I think I can just unscrew them by hand from here, and then I'll pull the whole thing out. Alright, getting this last bolt out of here, and should come right out. And there you have it. So here's the old pump. This thing is extremely oily and greasy, and here's what I got going on down here. There's where the 3 bolts attach that bracket to the block. AC compressor, I just have it sitting off over here on the side. Still need to get that line, the high pressure line, removed. And I think what I need to do is go to the parts store and get the high pressure hose for the van, which that came off of a 94 van. I'm just going to pick up that hose. I looked it up this morning. It's about $15. These Saginaw pumps put out a lot more pressure than the pump that's on this truck, and if you don't have a hose that can handle that pressure, you're going to end up blowing hoses. Also, the serpentine belt that goes around this one, I think this pulley must just be a little bit larger. I looked up the belts, and the one on the van did take a different belt. I think the only difference was like 2/10 of an inch longer, I think, something like that. So I don't know if I'm going to buy a belt right away or see if this one should work. I would think 2/10 of an inch. You're talking a 1/4 inch. I'd rather not have to buy a new belt if I don't have to, but if I have to, I have to. Gorgeous day here in central Iowa today. Temperatures are, I don't know what it is, probably the middle 70s, something like that. Some fluffy white clouds floating around, light wind. Good day for a nap apparently. A lot better than it has been, that's for sure. It's still a little warm if you start doing much of anything, but I'll take it. Being that it is the beginning of August, probably towards the end of next month, we may be thinking about combining beans, just depending on how things go. If they're ready, and we'll start combining, and no time for anything else once harvest begins. But right now, I don't have a light over here. Maybe you can see. Sometimes this camera picks things up better than I think it does. I'm gonna just get down in here and do a little bit of cleaning on some things, and then I'm gonna get this mounted in the truck. So I've got the old pump off, new pump's about ready to go in. Got all the old fluid out. I got it out of everything. I got it out of the lines, got it out of the steering box. It should be pretty well all out of there. Right now I need to take, when I took this out of the salvage yard, I just cut this line off back here, and I need to remove that. It has an 18mm hex head on it. I'm going to suck just as much fluid as I can out of that old pump, and then I just want to see if the fittings are the same size as my old line, just need a higher pressure line, or what. So the fittings on this pump are the same sizes as what was on my old pump. This screwed right into there, and then of course the end that screws into the steering box, of course that'll be the same size. So I just need to get me a new power steering line. I guess the one that goes to the van actually should fit up to this. I think somebody told me you may have to bend the tubing just a little bit. We'll see. So I'm gonna get this pump and bracket, gonna get it mounted up in the truck. I need to see if I'm gonna need a new belt or not, and then I need to run to the parts store and get me a hose. If you're wondering what the difference is between these two brackets, it doesn't appear to be a whole lot, except the old one had this kind of this webbing here. Well, they're both old, but this one doesn't have that. It's all cut out for this pump to fit in there. So not a lot of difference. And the rest of this, ooh, about knocked my fan over. The rest of the spacing, slide this one out a little bit. The spacing for the mounting holes is all the same, and the AC compressor is all the same. It's just this down here. So you wouldn't be able to just take this pump and mount it right up into this bracket. Maybe you could if you... I don't think I'd mess with it. I'd just get a bracket. Moxie dog. She's thoroughly excited. So I've got the bracket and the new pump. AC compressor's all hooked back up. I got the belt back on it, and it seems to have plenty of play either direction. So I'm gonna run it and hope I don't have a problem. I can't think 2/10 of an inch. I think that's what it was. I think it's gonna be fine. But everything lined up real good, and I think she's ready to go. I just need to go get me a new high pressure line, and this thing will be running shortly. So I just got back from the parts store with, this is a power steering line for the van, and hopefully it'll work on the truck. Had to go to 4 different parts stores. There's a town not too far away that has an O'Reilly's, a Napa, and there's another one I can't remember the name of it. It's I think it's like a local, not a chain type store. Anyway, nobody had it. I thought about going to John Deere and seeing if they could make one up, but it'd probably cost about $2,000 to have them do that. So I called O'Reilly's down in Des Moines, and they didn't have one, but they could get one. It was going to be about an hour, which takes me a while to get there, so that worked out pretty good. I went down, picked it up, just got home, forgot to take my camera, and I'm going to see if I can make this work. So I had a little problem getting that high pressure hose mounted up on the pump and to the steering box of the truck. It just wouldn't quite fit, so what I did was, this used to be, where did this go? I'm not sure. Anyway, this used to be attached to that with this on the end of it, or maybe it was this way. It might have been like this. I don't know. But so I mocked it up on the truck, and shortly after this first bend, if I just cut it off, and then I put a I put a new flare on this. I cut it off, flared it, and now I think it should actually fit up quite well. I'm gonna go give it a try. Always forgetting my flashlight. Anyway, we got this all hooked, well, not quite all hooked up. I still have the low pressure line, but that just slips on right back there in the back. Put a clamp on it, we're good to go. Got the high pressure line on. It comes down and around, and that worked out pretty well. It's not rubbing on anything. So I believe I'm all set to put some fluid in this. We'll fire it up and see what happens. Well, time to put some fluid in it. I'm using Mercon 5. That's what a lot of people seem to run in these. I think you can run almost any kind of fluid in these. Had some of this on hand. Seems to be what a lot of people use. That's what I'm going to put in it. See if I can keep from slopping this all over the place. Well, I've got the truck running, and maybe you can tell it's a lot quieter now. That pump doesn't make any noise whatsoever. I was a little concerned about that, putting it in here being that it was a used pump. Seems to be just fine. Quiet as could be. I put all new fluid in it, checked the level, went down right away when I started the truck up, and topped it off again. Then I turned the wheels back and forth, 2 or 3 times. Seemed like all the air had worked its way out of there. There wasn't any more air bubbles or any foaming or anything like that in the reservoir, and she's quiet. Seems to be happy. I'm gonna take her out of here and take her for a little drive. I really can't believe how much quieter that is. Now, if you remember in my last video, I think it was my last video, I was sitting right in about this same spot, and I took off just to demonstrate the moan and groan that that pump had. Check this one out. Absolute quietness. Not only doesn't it moan and groan anymore, I just noticed when I was pulling out of the driveway, this thing steers a whole lot easier. Not that it steered hard before, but now it turns just with the touch of a feather. It turns really nice. Makes the truck feel a lot more responsive. So we'll turn around here, and there is no moaning. It's a beautiful thing. Well, I have to tell you, I think that is one of the best upgrades I've ever done. Pop the hood here and make sure it's not leaking anything that's real obvious. And of course my flashlight's over here. That fitting right there is dry as a bone. See a lot of fluid down in there, but I think that's from when I took the old one out. Back here, I don't know if you can see that or not, back here is dry as well. So I think I'm just gonna grab me some shop towels and get in there, just wipe things up as good as I can. Haven't received any plates for the license plate wall recently. I did get a few of these hung up that Ghostfall sent. He sent a whole bunch of Michigan plates, like 18 of them or 15 or something like that. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put them all. I will get them hung up. I just don't wanna hang them all up in one spot. But if you have a license plate or anything else for that matter that you wanna send to the Fox shop, address down below. So like I said a minute ago, I think that's one of the best upgrades I've ever done. I don't think this truck has ever been so quiet as far as the power steering pump goes. Ford power steering pumps in these trucks were always kind of known for making a little bit of a moan and groan, which really didn't bother me much. It was just kind of a trademark. But this thing, I should have done this a long time ago. It is really quiet, and the steering in the truck is a whole lot lighter. Some people may not like it lighter. I like it. It turns about like a 2-wheel drive truck now. Real easy and smooth. If you're tired of the Ford pump moaning and groaning, I would go pull one out of a van, slap it on there, and it's probably going to work. I think these pumps last a long time, with the exception of maybe front seal or something going out. So you might take a look at that if you come across one you want to grab. Otherwise, I'd take a chance at it. How much did I spend on the whole thing? The pump and bracket was $30 at the salvage yard, right at $30. The hose that I bought today was 15 something or other. The only other thing would be fluid if you don't have any. I already had some, so it really didn't cost me anything for that today. But a quart or two of fluid, I think 1 quart filled it up. So the serpentine belt, I didn't need to get a new one. One from my truck worked just fine. There's still plenty of give and take on the tensioner. Seems to be fine. If I run into some kind of a problem, I'll let you know. But overall, it was actually real easy to do. Just take that bracket and pump off. You have to undo your air conditioning compressor if you have air conditioning. Just lift it up and put it out of the way. Put the new bracket and pump on and hook everything up. The only halfway hard part was doing the high pressure hose, which I kind of showed that earlier. You can't just put the hose on that's on your truck. You can't just mount that right up to the Saginaw pump, because they put out more pressure, and from what I've been told anyway, you're going to blow that line out if you do that. I personally don't want that mess under the hood of my truck. So if you have a flaring tool and you can make your own flares, it's really not too hard to make the van high pressure hose work on the truck. So that's going to do it on the conversion from the Ford factory style pump to the Saginaw pump on these trucks. Highly recommend doing it. So give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.